welcome. We're going to wait for some people to hop on here. Doing a live stream. It's been a little while. I missed everybody. I'm looking forward to connecting with you, whether it is on the replay or during this live stream, as we are warming up here toward this solar eclipse, this annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, this meeting of Neptune and Saturn at 0 Aries. There's just so much going on. So much. We got another eclipse on the 3/3 portal. I mean, it's absolutely wild. So before I jump right into everything, I am going to give a little time. I haven't live streamed. It's been a few weeks, maybe close to a month even, since I did a live stream. So we're going to see if anybody catches this in their notifications, if anybody is able to hop on. This is right around the time that we were doing our consistent live streams, back when that was my life. Hopefully sometime in the near future that will be possible again. Right now, we just kind of have to play things by ear. I'm reorganizing a lot of things in my life, and ultimately this should allow for more time and space to connect more with you guys on here. But in the interim, it's actually, I'm having a little bit less time. So we're just kind of going with the flow, allowing things to organize the way that they are. I've been very guided to be in my own space quite a bit, to focus on my family, to focus on what's right in front of me, as well as my own mental, physical, spiritual health and well-being. I think a lot of us have probably been feeling that push to do that lately as well. And honestly, there's just like, there's so much noise online right now. And, you know, I love you all dearly, but I haven't necessarily always felt like I needed to be adding to all of the noise. So I have been thinking about you. I think about you all the time. I appreciate you so dearly. And yeah, I'm hoping that I will be able to connect with some of you today as we just tap into these energies, see what's going on, see what guidance we have as we are moving forward here. Hello, Anthony. Welcome. I'm going to only acknowledge the comments that feel at all relevant to anything that we're talking about here. So if I do not acknowledge your comments, I still hope to welcome those who joined the stream. Hopefully we'll have Annika in the chat soon as well. She does a great job at welcoming people. Like I said, this is rather impromptu. So we're going to see who hops on here. As we go through these energies, I have a couple different, oh, there she is. Hello, Annika. Hello, Brixton Mars. Hello, Belly. Oh, your name is Alex. Hello, Alex. I have a few different charts that I might reference. I have, of course, the chart for the eclipse here, as that is sort of the hot topic right now, the eclipse, which is occurring. So during the eclipse, we are going to have both Neptune and Saturn at 0 degrees of Aries. They won't be conjunct down to the minute until the 20th. So that exact conjunction is on February 20th. But we're going to be feeling the impact of that during this eclipse. And I really feel this eclipse as opening up a portal of energy that is going to be magnified by that conjunction of Neptune and Saturn. And the more I read about it, the more I feel into it, the more amazed I am by just how rare and how powerful that conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at that world axis, that 0 degree of Aries birthing point is going to be. The last time we had a conjunction at that degree of Aries of these two planets, from like what I was reading, and you can't always trust everything online, especially today, right? But what the calculation that I got was like possibly 589 AD. They've been conjunct in the sign of Aries more recently than that. I believe it's like that was like in the 1700s, but not at that degree of Aries. All right. So this is absolutely massive. And I think we talked a little bit on a live stream recently, maybe the last live stream that we did, about different prophets such as Edgar Casey, and known as the sleeping prophet. Sorry, you all. I still haven't fully figured out my internet connectivity issues. in my office. So we're going to go with this. We're getting off the friggin' Wi-Fi. That could be a message in general for people. I've been really looking into turning off the Wi-Fi when I sleep and stuff like that. There's a lot of that EMF interference and just the interference of frequencies and stuff. So no more Wi-Fi for this call. We're gonna go this way. So what were we talking about? And I want to say hello to everybody that I missed here in the chat. Ty, I see Ty here, Timmy. I see, what is that? Ivy, I think. Kevin Rodriguez. Nice to see you all. So we were talking about the rarity of this conjunction of Saturn and Neptune and how different people have been prophesizing about February 2026 for a long time. So this is, and I know we've talked about different points along the Age of Aquarius timeline. We had some points back in 2020. We had, I believe it was, what was it? Saturn met with another planet at 0 Aquarius back in like 2020 or 2021. I'm trying to remember. It was Jupiter, I believe. And we talked about that as one of these markers of the Age of Aquarius, really initiating into that energy. This one with Saturn and Neptune here at that birthing point, that world axis, just within days of the eclipse in Aquarius at 28, almost 29 degrees, so close to that anaretic degree of Aquarius. This really truly feels like a breakthrough within that energy. We talk about on here a lot about how this final ascension window here, the way that I'm perceiving these energies is from 2026 to roughly 2034, 2030. Well, I'm saying 2034 because of this other series of eclipses that we're not going to get into all of that right now, but 2026 to 2034-ish. All right, so this meeting, which also happens to be, of course, the Chinese Lunar New Year, the year of the fire horse. Fire, once again, a big theme here, fire and air as we're moving forward. That, all of that happening in that 3-day window. And isn't that interesting with the threes, right? Because the next eclipse for this coupling of eclipses we have here in the winter / moving into springtime energy is on the 3-3, right? So that 3-day window, 17-8, oh, it's 4 days, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. So never mind that, but still that significance of the other one on the 3-3 is pretty cool, I think. But we're really initiating and activating that final leg of the ascension window. And it was really funny. So I watched a video of this woman talking about the eclipses and talking about Edgar Cayce and some of his predictions regarding February 2026. And he'd made these predictions a very long time ago. He has long since passed from this world. And something that I thought was funny was he was explaining as what was going to happen as people began activating psychically, energetically, spiritually. A lot of that is stuff that people who follow this channel, we've been experiencing for a long time here, right? So there's definitely going to be a brand new wave of people activating and awakening and a major shifting when we talk about sort of the splitting of realities, the splitting of worlds. But those of us who have already been within this process, there's going to be a great deepening of that energy where we're really connecting with our multidimensional selves, where we're really stepping into our mission, so to speak, and our purpose, or this next leg of it. And those spiritual gifts are really amplifying our ability to manifest, our ability to create is amplifying the power of our energy, our thoughts, our words. So it's going to be really important to honor this time frame. What Spirit's saying right now is to actually, some of us need to start, multidimensional elf here. I love you. To start journaling, to start writing down and recording our experience, because it's going to be really important and helpful for people. And I think that this is a message too for people who might not be comfortable necessarily like with their face on social media or anything like that. Writing. I've been going back to writing a lot. I've been doing more writing actually than I have been doing videos and live streams, because that is sort of my original passion. And it is just something that's very comfortable and doable for me. It doesn't expend a lot of energy. You know what I mean? I also channel when I write really easily. And so I'm thinking some people watching this do as well. And maybe having some sort of written record, right? Blog, something like that, sharing your thoughts, your wisdom, your experience, and your own journey that you can look back on as well. That's going to be really powerful for a lot of us moving forward. Remember, as we're moving, Neptune deals with celebrity, it deals with, cinema and all entertainment and all of these different things. And so as we're moving into Neptune in Aries, we're going to be having that real shift in focus. This is where what we call the leaders of the new earth, right? Which are those who have been in this process, whose spirit has been shaping and sort of grooming into this highest, most empowered version of themselves. So this, I'm speaking to you, right? You who are finding this live stream. Spirit has been shaping you into this version of yourself, putting you through these trials perhaps, so that you can grow, so that you can step more deeply into your sovereignty, and you can share that journey and share sort of the fruits of that journey with others, because people are no longer going to be looking. I mean, if you look at the e-files and everything that's coming out with that, which is no shocker to any of us probably on here, but it was a great reminder the other day for me that like society at large is probably going to be shocked by a lot of the stuff that's coming out there, because they didn't expect it. All right. We did. We've just, many of us like myself have just been kind of waiting for humanity to catch up, for the truth to start coming out. And it is miraculous that it's happening, and the rate that it's happening at, right? But where was I going with that? It's just, so people are already beginning to lose faith in these people that they put their trust in, that they might have admired, right? These so-called role models, these celebrities, these political figures, these people that are now being revealed for what they are, for the paths that they have chosen and the hand that they have played in shaping our collective reality for the worse, right? And so we're reclaiming that energy. We're reclaiming our sovereignty. We're showing other people how to do this. And those of us who are in that place of sovereignty, in that place of personal power, in that place of authenticity, are the ones who are going to be, people are going to be more drawn to, right? It's going to be just like social media created sort of a whole new sort of class of, and I don't even like using the word celebrity, because it's not going to be, that energy is played out. Even that word is played out. It's just going to be people being recognized more for how they show up in their truth, in their fierceness, right? With this Aries, Neptune and Aries energy. That's what's going to be valued. Truth, authenticity, courage. People who are sovereign, because that is what other people are desiring. That is what they want. As the world and this old reality crumbles all around them, they're going to be looking for something real. All right, so the more we can allow ourselves to be real, the more we can embrace our flaws, the more we can show up imperfect as we are, the better. And I don't just mean this in the terms of like putting yourself out there, like social media. I think we're going to see a crumbling of that too, and a complete reworking of that energy, because people are really seeing how shallow it has become, how much of a tool it has become. And there's even stuff coming out in the e-files and stuff like this right now about the creation of Facebook and some of these social media things that we use, and how they're reimagined forms of these social control experiments, these surveillance experiments. There's a lot of stuff coming out about that. So there's going to be a real rebellion around that, and probably like a deeper drive toward community, toward one-on-one connections. You know what I mean? So this could be, when I'm speaking of, the leaders of the new earth, and it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to find you through social media, or you even have to, fuck with social media. This could be in your community, in your immediate surroundings, just with the people but people are going to be desiring that, people who are making this shift, because not everybody's going to. That's definitely something that I felt very strongly. People are going to be shifting to wherever it is that they are most comfortable, to wherever it is that whatever density dimension suits them and their level of growth. But those who are shifting into this 5D, 6D consciousness, who are on this journey, they're going to be coming in at all stages, right? They're going to be coming in and not even realizing what they're coming into. And so that's where people who may have not been that interested in hearing you talk about the things that you've I don't even want to say understand, because how much do we ever really understand? As soon as we think we fully understand something, we're operating under some layer of ego or illusion, right? But that those of us who understand that there is very little that we do understand, but we have gained a wisdom and an experience of navigating that sort of nebulous area. I guess that's one way to put it. The people who, like you tried to talk to about, concepts like energy and frequency and, even just simple things like reincarnation or the false matrix, right? All of a sudden are going to want to hear that, right? That's how you're going to know the people who are in this process of making the shift. They may not be fully awakened yet, but they're getting more curious. They want to know, they want to understand, and they are going to be seeking out those of us who have an understanding, a conceptualization of this stuff. So we're just being asked in the interim to hold space for humanity as it is receiving this shockwave of energy, as it is waking up in this blunt way that Aries energy has, right? Aries energy is like, all right, that's it. It's time to pull the hood off, right? It's time to see what's right in front of you, right? We don't have time to mess around with this. It's time to go. It's time to do it. It's time to wake up. Aries energy is like, if you think about different zodiac signs in the awakening journey as like different sounds on an alarm clock, Aries energy is that obnoxious blaring alarm clock that you cannot ignore, because when it goes off, you just want that sound to stop, right? That's the kind of awakening that many are going to be moving into. I'm glad you followed me on that, D. Oh, yeah. Your friend banned you from saying the word energetics. Maybe that same friend will start coming back around. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. I feel like there's going to be a lot of shifting and changing, but there's also going to be some level of stabilization, I feel, energetically as well for a lot of us. But it's really, I have been feeling that strongly about holding space for those who are coming into this journey at the different levels of awareness that they are. One thing that I found really interesting that we talk about on here quite a lot is this energy of how before we can sort of come back into unity consciousness, there's like this amplification of polarity, right? The polarity, the division gets bigger and bigger, louder and louder, until it gets so intense that it literally implodes upon itself. And that's sort of how we come back to unity. And so we can really see that process going on in the world right now. And like understand that just like everything, just like the breakdown of the false matrix, the breakdown of all of these. And remember, the false matrix isn't just the institutions and sort of the people with their hands in behind the scenes, right? The false matrix is belief systems. The false matrix is programming. We are deprogramming ourselves. That's been the first step. And many of us are still in different layers of this process as we're moving into different experiences. But for a lot of people, it's that initial awakening awareness that initiates that desire to deprogram, that awareness that we are programmed in the first place. And this is a really heavy awareness. So many people for so long, even though the information has been available, have chose to look the other way, because having your entire paradigm, your entire belief system, everything that you thought you knew about reality shattered is terrifying. It breaks the mind and it breaks the spirit in a sense before it rebuilds it. But it's the ability to look away. It's getting harder and harder. Like you have to operate in a pretty steep level of denial to be able to fully look away from everything that's being revealed right now. And you also have to be able to use your discernment, right? We talk about this a lot, especially with AI now, with like you don't know if anything is real that you're being shown. And it's always been that way, right? The majority of what we've been shown wasn't real, but it felt more real. It looked more real. Now it's become more widely understood that like what you're seeing, what you're hearing may not be real. So it's really forcing us to go within, to judge through resonance, because that's the only way. Like the true lie detector is your heart. It is frequency. It is the feelings in your body that you get when you hear truth or read truth versus a lie. So it's like the veils of illusion are coming down, but in the same time, like the attempts to uphold that veil are getting louder and stronger. And so more and more illusion, more and more confusion is being bombarded upon us. And that's why I really, what's the word I'm looking for here? Encourage people to take time off of social media, to take time off of these apps. Like it's actually come out and shown that like, especially like the short form content is designed to scramble your brain. It's designed to give you these crazy emotional yo-yo experiences, these crazy spikes in dopamine. And it's literally like destroying our brains, our nervous systems, not to mention the level of ignorance that we do see, which is not necessarily, I think, fully representative of how people actually are if you go out and interact with people in the world. Social media, it's just, it is in so many ways like a cancer. And yes, I utilize it to connect with you all, and it is beautiful in some of the opportunities that it gives us for connection. But we have to use it wisely. So this, as we're moving toward this eclipse, we are still within the year of the snake, right? We're closing out that energy, the Chinese year of the wood snake, right? This is like a final clearing, a final purge of energy, those final pieces of skin that are shedding right now. This is prime time to detox, to clear, to purge, to release. And we're probably still feeling a lot of intense emotions coming up, a lot of confusion as we're moving through this process, all right? A lot of those emotional ups and downs. So just know that, understand that, set some time for whatever kind of detox or clearing is really going to be most beneficial for you as we're moving through next, how long here? Let me see. I have my old phone that I'm using for like reference as I'm doing the live stream on this one. And somehow like even my Google Calendar got offloaded. So I'm waiting for it to upload here because you guys know it's about what, like a week. Let me see. Here we go. How long do we have here? Just stop trying to do things right now. Let me do what I'm trying to do here. All right. So yeah, we got just over a week here, or just under a week for the eclipse, and just over a week for that full intensity of that meeting of Saturn and Neptune at their exact conjunction point. So use this week to clear, to detox, to purge. I have, like I said, been guided to take more time. And honestly, my physical life has really demanded my attention lately. But I am still taking clients. I am still making time for clients. So if you are interested in that, reach out to me. I have some availability next Wednesday, Monday, I think maybe. So shoot me an email if you want assistance with any of that final clearing. Doesn't mean after the eclipse we're not going to need any more clearing, or we're going to be done purging and clearing. But this is like a big, intense week, and something that will probably make people feel better if they've really had a rough year this year with the Chinese year, this year of the snake energy, is that the more intense and painful and challenging the year of the snake has been for you, the more you're clearing, the more you're upgrading, right? The more that you are releasing. So that is making way for a really powerful year of the fire horse. And this isn't to say that as soon as the eclipse happens and this conjunction happens, we're going to be living in the new earth. Everything's going to be peachy. Everything's going to be just flowing beautifully. It can within our own individual realities, but we're still going to be witnessing the collapse of the collective reality, right? And there's still going to be energies that we need to work with within ourselves. We're still going to have challenges. We're still growing, right? So don't expect this to be like a giant Band-Aid, but it is going to be, I think, a breath of fresh air for a lot of us, and a real turning point when it comes to how we are experiencing our own individual journeys, and really seeing, I think, I really truly do believe, sort of the harvest time. We're entering this next period from 2026 to 2034 is like the beginning that harvest time, as far as like all the work that we've put in, all the healing that we've done, all the shadow work that we've done, right? We're still doing those things, but we're being urged to become as present as possible and to really live that energy. Like those of you who are familiar with 12-step, I know I have a lot of recovery people on here. Not everyone is 12-step who's in recovery on here, but some of you do have experience with that. It's kind of like when you work to the 12 steps and you get to the end, and it's like you start to live them, right? You've done the work and now you're living those principles in your daily life. You're doing your own version of taking inventory, which just means looking at your part in situations, looking at where your wounds are still influencing the way that you are perceiving situations, the way that you are handling situations, showing up, taking responsibility for your energy. That's like the period that we're, as a collective, this collective, that I show up here for. That's what we're really moving into, is that really just living that energy. And that's how we be the example. And that's how we attract the people who want to learn how to do that, because they're just entering those beginning phases of this process. I know, Michael. I really need sun too. I'm going to be experiencing some sun soon here, and I'm very excited about that. And then when I return to where I live, hopefully, we'll be getting some sunshine here. It's like, it's here in the winter in the Northeast and these other parts of the world, you know, where we have these feeling like never-ending winters. But it's like you look at the sun out the window and it looks so warm, but then you step outside and you're like, oh, okay, yes, it's still freezing. So the sun and that temperate energy, for sure. The sun is so incredibly healing. And I keep forgetting to do the meditation for everyone, the connecting with the Grand Central Sun meditation. Somebody who's in the Patreon group or in the chat for that, remind me. I really need to set aside some time when my house is quiet to do that, because it's so powerful. We can still connect with the sun, even if we don't physically see it or it's too cold for us to physically go outside. Although those sunny days are a great time to drive around in your car with the heat cranked up, because the sun does warm you through the windows, and it does give that illusion of that warmth, right? But there are ways to connect with it, even if it's nighttime, even if you're in a pitch black room in the middle of winter somewhere. Energetically, you can still connect with the sun. And the sun is bombarding us with high frequency energy constantly. The CMEs, the solar flares, the solar storms, she is activating us, whether we feel it or not, but it is more fun when we can feel her on our skin and on our face. Absolutely. All right. I think I actually want to start out this card pull situation here with our crystal cards. I'm really feeling called to, I feel like our crystals really want to support us right now in everything that we're going through. As far as the eclipse goes, I also just want to throw out there, we've got a stellium in Aquarius during this eclipse. It's not just the sun and the moon. There is a stellium in Aquarius. There's a lot of asteroids, dwarf planets, things like that. But we've also got Mars there. We've got Pluto in Aquarius. We've got quite a few planets in Pisces. This is a North Node eclipse. So this is like future energy, forward-thinking energy, which aligns very much with these Aquarian themes. The North Node is in Pisces, but this eclipse is happening closer to the North Node than the South Node. The nodes are really determining these eclipses and the energies of the eclipses. So we're still working with that North Node energy, which is currently still in the sign of Pisces and conjunct Venus. during this eclipse that we're coming up to here. So that's really beautiful, having that connection with Venus. And then more distantly, we have Mercury also in the sign of Pisces. And then, of course, we got that strong Aries energy coming in with Saturn and Neptune at the Aries point, getting ready to move into that exact alignment. So strong Aquarius, Pisces, Aries energy coming through here. A square to the ruler of this eclipse, or the modern ruler, which is, of course, Uranus, and also a square to Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. So there's kind of a T-square action going on here. So this is a lot of rebellion, a lot of taking our sovereignty back, taking our power back, a lot of this desire for change, radical change. And eclipses also always bring unexpected energy. So I mean, for a lot of people, this new earth energy is very unexpected, right? And some of the revelations coming through may be unexpected as well. More of the truth being revealed, perhaps more of the uprisings and different things going on, which are very linked with both Saturn and Neptune and Aries energies. And of course, they're very Aquarian, right? Because Aquarian is the sign of change, of humanitarianism, of forward thinking and revolution. So many revolutionary energies here as we come up to this eclipse. And I really want to, I'm really interested to see just what that 4-day window from the 17th to the 20th is going to feel like. Because a lot of times, and look like, right? Because a lot of times these energies, like, obviously they're building. And when we're opening this window to the new earth, to the 5D in this powerful way, and really experiencing this timeline split here to a whole greater degree, like the greatest experience of that split, amplification of that split since 2020. And we all know how different the realities got during and after 2020, right? So it's going to be like that, except maybe even more intense. But it's going to be a building energy, right? It's not all going to change instantly on that day, but I am interested to see what changes, what shifts we do have, what we have going on around that day and the month of February in general, because I do feel like there are going to be some tangible events or things that we're going to see, and definitely some powerful psychic experiences that those of us who are tuning into this energy may experience. All right. Hello, Celeste. Great to see you. Plune, I see you on here as well. And of course, Michael. What crystals want to connect with us or have messages for us regarding this eclipse portal, this new earth portal, this major timeline split that we are coming up to here? Interesting. So we have Zircon, which is all about supporting you through major life changes. We also have Boji Stone, balance, align, and clear. And then on the bottom of the deck, we have Sunstone, speaking of the sun, Michael, raw, the light, radiant. So very interesting energy here, and like a similar like color theme that we have going on. And then Labradorite, free will under that, and also Pyrite, which is the spirit of life and also connects to will and the solar plexus. So a lot of solar plexus energy here. I definitely encourage everybody to check out where you have the late degrees of Aquarius in your chart, and just what house or houses Aquarius rules in your chart. And also where you have this 0 degree of Aries, and really this first 5 degrees or so of Aries in your chart, because that's where you're going to see the most changes for you specifically. Like, it's really interesting for me, actually. The eclipse is happening 3 degrees or 4 degrees away from my midheaven. So I think that's going to be really interesting. I have no idea what is going on. I have no idea what like that's going to look like. There's so much that's shifting and changing, and really feeling very nebulous and confusing, because that's what Neptune does. So we shall see how that all plays out. right? So for me, that's legacy, that's career, that's impact, that's reputation, all of those different energies. For you, it's going to be wherever that is located, the house, if it's conjuncting any planets, anything like that. And this is also a 36-year cycle. I believe it is that we're beginning between Neptune and Saturn before they meet again. It won't be where they're meeting right now. Like we said, 589 AD from the research I did was the last time they met at the world axis. But they'll be meeting in another sign for another conjunction in 36 years. So there's so many cycles that we're beginning. That's what makes this energy so exciting, right? Neptune is beginning a brand new 164-ish year cycle, right? As it's completed one full spin around the zodiac and is returning to 0 Aries. Saturn is beginning its own 28, 29-ish year cycle. All right. And there's just so many cycles within cycles within cycles that are beginning. And then on top of that, of course, the cycle just within that one sign of Aries, not looking at their whole cycle through the zodiac. There's just, it's humanity is beginning a new cycle, right? Our ascension cycle is kicking into full gear. So many new beginnings, so much fresh energy. This is also a 1 year. But somebody pointed out, and I really liked this, that it's actually a 10-year, which does break down to 1. But we can also look at it as the number 10. And 10 is, as we always talk about this with the 10-10 portal energies, 10 is the energy of independence, leadership, self-assertion, manifestation, and creation merged with spirit. The 0 represents spirit. So co-creation with spirit, all right? So what a beautiful, powerful number numerologically for this year as well. Speaking once again to new beginnings. The 1 and the 10 energy, I always relate to Aries energy. So it's really interesting that this is all, we have so much going on in the sign of Aries during this 10 year. And the fire horse year, right? That fire energy coming through. D, buckle up, my friend. And any of my other Aries on here. This is going to be very interesting for you. So let's see a little bit about how we're being guided here. So major life changes. That's what I was sort of getting into when I was talking about the energy of like, know where this is in your astrological chart, because this energy, that's where you're going to see these big changes most likely happening. And it's really interesting. I love the energy of Saturn meeting with Neptune, because Saturn represents the physical manifested world. And Neptune represents the spiritual world, what we can't see and touch, but we can feel, we can sense. All right. The reality check with the illusion, right? The escape from reality. So it's a real fascinating pairing of energies. And before the outer planets were discovered, Saturn was the outermost planet. So Saturn actually had some similarities to Neptune, which is kind of interesting, right? But Saturn was that marker that represented the known, the physical, the tangible versus what was intangible. And then we started evolving in our consciousness and our technology, right? And we started recognizing Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and the story evolved from there. But it's really interesting, the planet that used to be the boundary, and now the planet that is sort of the latest boundary, but not really, right? Because we've noticed things beyond Neptune's orbit. We've got Pluto, we've got the trans-Neptunian objects, right? The asteroid belt. All of these, like, our consciousness keeps expanding. And therefore, what we are able to witness and perceive of within the cosmos, right? I mean, now we have galactic astrology, and we can look at the black holes. We can look at all of these massive points in space that we weren't able to really conceptualize before and work them into the astrology. So astrology keeps expanding as we do, which is really, really beautiful. But I love that, going back to that energy of the former boundary or outermost planet, and then coming together with what was at one time also the outermost planet. That tangible with the mixing with the intangible, and that fire, that cardinal fire, infusing everything with spirit, right? With that spark, that creational spark. Remember, the world axis, we call this the world axis. This point, this Aries point, I call it the birthing point because it's the very first degree of the zodiac. It's the very first spark of life, of creation. It's like, I'm just seeing like, this is going to sound a little, I don't know why I'm prefacing this by saying this is going to sound weird. Everything that we talk about on this channel sounds weird to somebody, right? But it's almost like God blowing that spark into the ethers and the world being created out of that. That's like the energy of what I'm seeing. It's like that breath of creation, so to speak, the breath of life, working with the breath and the body. Very important with Aries energies. Aries rules the first house, does rule the body. Physical health is going to be a big thing, especially with Saturn and Neptune, because Saturn is very physical, right? Boundaries, limitations, but Neptune is like very nebulous energy. So the body with that nebulous Neptune energy, as somebody who has Neptune in their sixth house of health, because first house rules the body, sixth house rules overall health, right? So I can say Neptune is not a fun planet to be working with when it comes to the body and health, because it's very confusing, and everything has it's more focused on the energetic root. And like, that's really the only way that you solve these mysteries is by getting to the energetic root. So we're really getting to the energetic root of things here. All right. And just that merging, that dissolving, right? Neptune, stronger because it is a slower planet. The further out you go, the stronger the energy goes. Interestingly enough, right? The slower the planet, the more powerful that energy is, the more powerfully it emanates. Okay, it's not about size. It's about that speed, really, right? Like, think about when a planet stations or appears to stand still in the sky. That's when its energy is at its most concentrated. So Neptune, the stronger of the two energies, even though Saturn really holds his weight, generally speaking, the great dissolver, dissolving the false matrix, dissolving the boundaries, dissolving the physical. It's really, I mean, you can't make this shit up. Or as my friend Heidi says, you can't make this shift up, right? It's just so perfect. Thank you, Annika, for reminding everybody to like the live stream. Hello, Shane. Happy Wednesday to you as well, brother. Hello, Kofi. Hello, everybody in the chat. Yeah, definitely like an onion with the layers peeling off during this wood snake year for sure. All right, Zircon, where are you? How does this go again? We are going by the alphabet for this book. Got to keep an eye on the time here. I want to have time to eat before I continue on with my day here after this live stream. We got some time though. A little bit of time. We all know how my concept of time goes. Like, so I got to focus a little more than maybe I think I do here. All right, so Zircon. Of the many stones on earth, zircon is mentioned in more religious texts than any other. It is truly one of the ancients. Zircon comes in all colors from red to blue. Most, however, are gold, clear, yellow, or a combination of those. Let's see. It's rarely found in crystal shops, not due to its rarity, but because it is found nearly everywhere and therefore not considered worth selling. Isn't that interesting? You can find it all over the world's beaches, riverbeds. So this would be one that you would stumble upon if you're out enjoying and communing with nature, it sounds like. The most famous place to encounter it would be the Ganges, I believe is how they say that river in India, which is known as the River of Change. Fascinating. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. It says, this mineral is melted down to form computer chips. So although you may not have it at home as a recognized crystal, there is a good chance she has affected you today. So before we read more about this, I want to bring this up. And I actually released a video. Actually, I think I had to take it down because I was asked to edit certain parts of it. And I haven't put it back up yet. It was an aura session that I did with somebody. But in that session, we talked about how these technologies that we have, like including all the negative technologies that they're utilizing against us, whether this is weaponized weather technologies, whether this is honestly your own cell phone, right? And the radiation it puts off and different things. We could go down a whole rabbit hole there. We're not going to. But these technologies are made up of different types of crystals, right? Diamonds, zircon. And so we can connect with the crystals within these technologies and assist them through our intention in reclaiming their original organic blueprint, their original crystalline blueprint. And when we do this, we can actually positively polarize negative technologies. And you can do this with your phone. You can meditate with your phone. You can set the intention that the crystals, the zircon within your phone regains its original vibration, and you can actually turn it into a positive battery instead of something that is emitting radioactive energy, right? So we can utilize this and we can work with that energy, those who feel called to. It's a really powerful way to transmute and alchemize these energies, right? And these technologies that are being used for ill into something back, moving them back into something positive. So I'm being reminded of that when we're talking about zircon and how it's used to form computer chips and different things like that. It is the crystal of life changes, a fact that not only offers to us via its role with computers, but also in its healing ability. It activates a trust in self at the seed of its work, which blossoms into an embrace of change without fear. The past is forgiven and released, opening all the potential paths forward. The mind is then cleansed and many parts of the self unite to become one with a single goal, to grow through change with acceptance. Okay, so they're saying a beautiful stone, therefore, for those who have given up on themselves due to past failures or who find themselves trapped in the past. And of course, as we're in this final shedding of the skin right now, if we want to move through the doorway that is opening for us, we have to be able to release the past. We have to be able to release these old, outdated versions of ourselves, these old, outdated paradigms, ways of viewing ourselves in the world, these static ways of thinking and viewing. That energy needs to be switched up. So this just helping us to embrace, accept, and navigate the changes in our own lives, in the world at large, is going to be really, really helpful for us. So I really love that this is coming through. Oh, this is interesting. As the spiritual development stone, zircon increases the intuition and sheds light upon the areas of self still to be explored. So the journey of life can continue and the path to higher enlightenment is discovered. It is one of the few stones able to link directly into one's genetic level. Fascinating. Able to facilitate necessary changes for evolution. So this can help with the evolving of our DNA as well, the clearing of the junk out of our DNA. And I don't mean what they call the junk DNA, which is actually all of our magical gifts and capabilities and memories, right? Not that, but the junk that they attempt to insert into our DNA through jabs, through the toxins in our environment, through the mind control even. There's so many ways that they infringe upon our DNA and continue to do this. If we have utilized or experienced, I don't know why I said utilized, experienced that type of infringement, zircon can help to clear that too. So that's really powerful and really important as we're moving forward, because the DNA has to be able to evolve in order for us to evolve physically, spiritually, energetically, right? On all levels of our being. The fact that this was misused in Atlantean times and today is accelerating our race's growth toward 2012 and beyond, even through computers. Or it says this fact was misused. So it's interesting that Atlantis is coming up, because I just did a healing for somebody, with somebody, I want to say, in conjunction with their higher self, because you can't do healing for somebody. That's something that I've realized throughout the years of working with energy and assisting people with energy work. So a healing with somebody. And as I did that, some stuff came through about Atlantis and about some of the things that happened during Atlantis. So I'm feeling called to share this because Atlantis is coming up again. So some of the things that happened during Atlantis were, because remember, during Atlantis, we were preparing to ascend from the 5D to the 6D. This was originally a 5D crystalline matrix. We were meant to ascend to the 6D, or that was the goal, that was the intention. And instead, we fell victim to the manipulation of what on here we call the dark ones, these other entities, off-planet beings and entities. And the storyline of how that all came about, there's many different ways. There was a lot of manipulation, a lot of mind control, like much like we're still seeing today, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's been their motto, right? A lot of things that were promised: protection, safety, advancement, power, knowledge. And these entities infiltrated the high priests and priestesses of the time, the elders. And one or two things happened. Either the elders fled, or, well, probably many things, but two of the two things that came up that were shown to me today were they either fled and went into hiding, or they were essentially convinced and brainwashed into believing that they were dark, that they had done something wrong, and convinced to agree to these contracts where they gave away their power, where they agreed to incarnate into future lifetimes with their gifts blocked, with their connection to their higher selves blocked. Now, some of those who went into hiding also did similar things, but they did this because they didn't want their frequency to give them away. Like, they had things that they needed to do, whether it was knowledge that they needed to seed, almost like, I'm giving the metaphor of like time capsules, right? Like, they had things they needed to do, and they needed to remain hidden for a time. So they had to essentially shield their frequency. And so some actually created these blocks or allowed for this sort of suppression of their gifts, their abilities, their light. And some were tricked into thinking that they needed to do this because of some outside threat, when really the threat was right in front of them, convincing them of this. And so they willingly blocked themselves off through allowing entities and different things to attach to them, and these dark contracts and things like that, in order to, they thought, protect others. So there's lots of different things that happened that all essentially resulted in many of these beautiful beings giving away their power, disconnecting themselves from their gifts, from their lineage is even what's coming through. And so as we are remembering, as we are realigning with these versions of ourselves from Atlantis, as these memories are returning, as these soul fragments, right? Because there was incredible trauma then. And many of these, there was fragmentation of the soul energy as well. As this is returning, we're being offered that opportunity to reclaim our gifts, to reclaim our sovereignty, to remove these entities and these energies that some willingly consented through this manipulation, through this confusion, to taking on, so that we can step back into our power as souls. So that was really fascinating that came through. If that resonates for you, it resonates for you. You're going to feel it. You're going to know when you hear me speaking about this. Email me if you want to set up a session, if you want to do your own meditation to reclaim this energy, to reclaim your power as well. But that was really interesting. So we are, of course, in essentially a replay of Atlantis right now, right? We're coming to that climax where these not just the agreements with these entities, right? These off-planet entities with these dark ones are coming to a head, but also the technology, right? Much of this technology that they have created, or they have sort of had a hand in creating, that's ultimately meant to dumb down the population, to disconnect the population from their spiritual selves, to cause them to rely on something, give away their sovereignty to something outside of themselves, to surveil them, right? There's so much going on with technology that's very dark right now. Not to say that benevolent technology is not possible and doesn't exist, but that's not what we're being presented right now, right? And so we're in that same energy. We're repeating these same cycles. So of course, these themes are going to be coming back up. And of course, we're going to be called to step back and reclaim our personal power, reclaim these gifts and abilities. And I think this is all very connected in with Neptune and Aries, right? I talked about the healing of the healer's wound with Neptune and Aries, spiritual empowerment, where we stop giving away our power, where we heal And we get that courage, we get that boost with that Aries energy to no longer hide ourselves, to no longer hide our frequency, our brilliance, our gifts because of fear of what happened in the past. Because we're ready to reclaim that energy and to oh my God, I love that there's a fire started in my backyard right now. I'm looking out the window. It's so perfect. I love it. We burn all our cardboard and stuff here because we have so much of it. All right. That may not be environmentally great, but you know. Anyway, but I do love the symbolism of the fire, looking out and seeing the fire. So our spiritual fire is being reignited. So if you are guided to reclaim any aspects of yourself, your power, your gifts that you willingly gave up or unwillingly during the time of Atlantis, now is the time. Now is the time, now is the hour, as they say. Okay. So anything more with zircon here? Zircon has always been seen as a visual translation stone between spirit, man, and the earth, able to bring clarity to messages received from all levels. All right, something else is coming through here regarding this. And the zircon used in computer chips, things like this, where it affects the DNA, right? It said something here about affecting the DNA, the genetics. The dark way that they programmed this technology was for it to negatively impact your DNA. It was reprogrammed through, they have all these different ways with their dark sorcery and the things that they do to do this. That's why it's so important to reprogram it. To scramble that signal to help it remember its true signal, because really the signal's scrambled right now. So to unscramble that signal. Because it can heal you, like we said, just as easily. So really work with that. Work with the zircon in your phones, in your laptops, your technologies. That's one of the reasons why it's used. Because of that ability to access your genetics or what's the word I'm looking for here? Impact. All right. Let's see. It is a sacred stone of Osiris, a relationship that stems from its role in the genetic creation of the Osirian and Isirian principles in Atlantis. Helps with nerve pain, sciatica, spinal issues, depression, schizophrenic visions. All right. And of course, it represents that a time of great change is approaching. Long-awaited changes that are typically life-altering and cause both inward and outward growth in the world. The most exciting thing about zircon presenting for most people is that it usually represents the last part of life change, the part after the pain. Oh, I love this. After the tears and attachments have been realized, meaning real change, and now. Zircon is also a great communication stone and will bring focus, determination, and forgiveness to the party. Through this, it lets us see that change is not just about cutting away, it's about formation, realization, and growth. One thing is for sure, with zircon present, things are about to be very different. Zircon's life changes always permeate all levels of self. They are holistic, meaning, and they spelled it with a W, which I love that. Which means that you won't see them if you look at single parts. They hide in the open expanse of the whole. The last place a mind would look for them, and that is zircon's real gift. Enjoy your new world and keep your eyes open for spiders, zircon's corresponding animal totem. They often come as validation. It is the contact stone for the Ascended Master Sananda, which is, of course, Yeshua, also known to some as Jesus. He may be calling you, sit and listen. The spider thing, it's a little creepy too, because the archons take the form of spiders, so I don't know. But who knows? That's what it says. So maybe spiders are connected. It's not like all, just because they take the form of spiders are evil. You know what I mean? There are, they just creep me out. But that's why a lot of us, it's like subconscious, because we remember the forms that some of these dark alien races take. such as, mantises. Not that all of them are bad, just some are negatively polarized, right? The archons with the spiders, wasps. There's a lot of dark wasps and snakes. There are many dark alien races that do take form of snakes, but snakes are also a very sacred, right? A very beautiful and sacred creature. And so spirits are reminding me that spiders can often be that as well, so in their benevolent form. All right, so we're going to look at the next one now. And the affirmation for Zircon is, my embrace of change creates my world. And I also wanted to say, my embrace of change changes the world. All right. Then we've got the Boji stone. So this is, I'm not going to read everything because we are getting a little low on time here. But this is to help balance, align, and clear your chakras, your energy, to get everything into alignment, to assist with releasing, to help you become more grounded, to regain your balance and your equilibrium. Let's see. Calling all parts back to unity. Where information is lost in the complexities of the male, female, emotional, mental, and spiritual selves, or dependency on one is born, it is excellent at finding the point of balance and then teaching one how to remain there. One of the greatest general overall healing stones for removing blockages, balancing energy flow. Let's see. Helps to communicate with plants, animals, and the Devic kingdom. So this is really speaking to the balance of the masculine and feminine polarities, balance in general, and just like sitting with this energy as we move, especially through the next week, to help regain that equilibrium, to help with whatever detox you're going through, whatever clearing you're going through, and whatever healing you are requiring. And then the sunstone is to connect to that vitality, to connect to that source light, probably to help us integrate some of these flares and rays coming from the sun as well. Let's see if we can find sunstone real quick. Keep going. Sugarlight, sulfur, sunstone. Here we go. This is the crystal of solar light radiance. So also what's coming through right now is, we were talking about the sun earlier. This is another way to connect with the power and the energy of the sun if you can't physically go out on the sun or in the sun or feel it on your face right now. This is the liquid crystal oracle. Oh, so interesting with all that Atlantis stuff that came through, because this is actually, it takes a lot of its information and then the healing trinities that it lists for different combinations of crystals for different intentions from ancient Atlantean crystal healing practices. So it's really cool. It's a really cool book. And there is light language on the cards that corresponds to the energies of the crystals. So you can use the cards in lieu of the crystal if you don't have the physical crystal that's called for here. All right, so let's see. This helps you connect with that power of the sun, the healing rays of the sun, to channel and integrate these energies. This is just coming through right now. It's not in the book. It is connected to Ra, the sun god of Egypt, and is a potent representation of his vital energies. Let's see. Optimism, vitality, confidence beam from a clear, energized state, allowing the setting of high goals with fearless enthusiasm and trust in your abilities to reach them. Life is good. The sun lives in you. You are life and truly alive. So this is like the sun card in the tarot, right? This is vitality, good fortune, joy, optimism, healing. Helping, especially if you've been in that darkness, going through that dark night of the soul that a lot of us have been experiencing as we've moved through this year of the snake, right? This deeper layer of shedding. This is a great way to really help bring you out of that energy and align you with these new frequencies that are coming through here. Let's see. clearing, healing, and balancing the bodies, removing fears and feelings of failure by intimately linking the soul's consciousness into the equation. So aligning you with your highest consciousness as well. And this is also reminding me of the Raw Collective. Right? If any of you have read The Law of One, that's a channeling of the Raw Collective. They're very connected to humanity and assisting humanity. So some of you might want to look into the Raw Collective or the Law of One materials here. Let's see. A lot of Egyptian and Mayan connections here. Serapis Bey, the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten. It is a record keeper of all that Akhenaten came to earth to do. His message found within it. Interesting. Egypt was eventually sort of usurped and taken over by these dark energies. But there were originally some very powerful beings who incarnated during those times, those ancient and pre-ancient times of Egypt, to bring a lot of knowledge, to bring a lot of wisdom to this planet. And of course, more beings that we're connected with that were not incarnated on planet, but many that did come down here in physical representations, or we could say bodies, perhaps. So perhaps Akhenaten is one of those. Let's see. If Sunstone has come to you today, the light of the sun is about to ignite your life, increasing your vital force, expanding your frequency, and infusing you with the joy only the sun can deliver. The coming days are bound to be positive and flowing, but it is important not to block the potential this frequency carries with negativity and pessimism, for Sunstone will then explode into healing mode and you will wonder what hit you. This is good guidance for eclipse season in general, right? Optimism is a key word where Sunstone is concerned, and it is possible that you are having your share of rough days at the moment. Sunstone has come to fill a role as your personal sun, showering positive light into your world and lightening your load. Sunstone can also open the voice and purpose of one's soul. So listen in a state of potential action for the frequencies such as this. Swiftness is key. If you are searching for an answer to a question, Sunstone is one of the most positive of responses that you could hope for. It screams yes, yes, yes at you. So if anybody had a question, it can be answered by a yes or a no. Sunstone's given a hell yes right now. All you need to do now with your new vitality is spring into action. Are you still reading this? It asks, and it says, if you are, go and do it now. So I love that. And the affirmation for Sunstone is, I am radiant light. Behold my vitality. So I love that. Works powerfully with the solar plexus, throat, and soul star chakras. I also feel this really actually, even though it's not linked with necessarily the colors of blue, this does say the throat chakra, and I am feeling that energy of helping to open up the voice and helping you to speak your truth too. So if anyone's been struggling with that, this might be good for that as well. Let's see. And I am going to read the messages from the Ancients Trinity. So for that, it calls for sunstone on the soul star chakra, which is above the head, selenite on the heart chakra, and moonstone below the feet at the earth star chakra, where it lightens the load, or sorry, I was reading. Maybe it is going to lighten the load, remove fear, and add vitality. I was reading the above when I was meant to be reading this. It says, you'll see a door with a triangle on it. Step through it into a pyramid, where you will be greeted and information will be exchanged. Information from the ancients. Perhaps for some of you, this is connecting to those ancient Atlantean versions of you or your others that you were connected with, since we've been going with that theme a lot today. All right. I love you guys so much. I'm going to read through your comments real quick before we close. I won't be able to pull any more cards today because I do have to go, but hopefully maybe next week, or if not, then soon I'll be able to do a live stream. I may end up every once in a while doing one in the evenings. I don't know who's going to be available in my evening time. I know it's a harder time for people, but it might be an easier time for me because I would like to be able to come live for you guys more. We'll see. It's just what life is throwing at me right now and what works. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to force anything to work that doesn't. That's not what this energy is about. It's not going to do us any good. You know what I mean? I found that I was doing a really shitty job of trying to do everything. So I had to focus on the certain things, you know, and not that, YouTube is not important, but there are other things in my physical world that have been demanding more of my attention. And just, you know, it is what it is. I have many missions, as we all do. One of my missions is raising a small human, you know, and so many other things. So I'm showing up where I'm called, how I'm called, and I hope to be able to show up more on here for you all moving forward through this new energy. Like I said, my life is rearranging itself. When the dust settles, when all the pieces fall into place, I highly doubt that that's not going to allow for me to be present with you all, because this has been probably one of the greatest gifts over the last 5 years, is being able to connect with all of you, to create this community here, and just to receive all of this beautiful energy. I receive as much as I give on here, just through all of your beautiful comments, your beautiful hearts, your beautiful energy. I cannot state how much I value each and every single one of you who is still watching this live stream, whether it's live or on the replay. You are so beautiful. You are so powerful. You are so needed in this world. And I will continue to show up, whether it be sporadically or consistently, depending on like where I'm at in life and what it's throwing at me, for all of you, because you are so beautiful and I appreciate you infinitely. Your light is so needed in this world, and I recognize that. I honor you for that. I see the beauty that exists within you. I see the strength within you, even if you don't feel it. You shine so brilliantly now and always. And your light gets me through some of the darkest of my days, even if you don't know it. All right. So I just want you all to know that, how much I value you, how much I respect you all, how grateful I am for you to be part of my journey, and that you're present on this earth at all. You know what I mean? It's no fucking small feat, especially for those of us who chose to come here and remember sooner. You know what I mean? Like, we've been carrying a lot of weight for a long time, and like, we've been doing it for so long that we don't even realize, I don't think, how heavy it was to carry. But as we begin moving through this next window of time, that load is going to be lightened, because more people are going to be joining. We're not going to have to carry it alone. You know, and those of you who've been awakened since the 60s, 70s, who are on here, like, I really honor you, because that was a lonely road. You know what I mean? We think it's been lonely thus far. That was a lonely road. We're moving deeper into the age of Aquarius, deeper into this age of connection. And we're going to see, I think, where we have felt so alone, we're going to see more and more opportunity to come together. I truly feel that. Like, physically, literally come together too, within community, physical community, even more so than just online community, right? Spirit's showing me, before we do physical community, many of us are going to, and are actually already coming together in the ethers, like in the astral. And I feel like my higher self's actually laughing right now, because like, many of us who are on this live stream or on this channel, those of you who would, you know who you are if this resonates for you. Many of us already get together and meet, like, our higher selves are meeting all the time. We haven't all met in the physical yet, but like, they're conferring, they're connecting all the time. And we're going to see that more in the physical moving through. But we're going to be more conscious of it in the astral and the non-physical soon. All right. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for being you.